All right, so we are going to finish out our Berry Symposium logo today. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to work on making text into gradient and then also how to modify gradients a bit. Okay, so we're going to turn the word berry, which you should have unlocked now and unhidden and brought to the front. We're going to turn him into, in order to fill it with a gradient, you have to convert it to a path and grab it. So we're going to go to modify. We're going to point to path and we're going to say convert to path. Now what we've done is in essence just made berry a shape. So it's not text anymore. We can't modify its spacing or anything like that. It's just a shape now. So in order to fill this in with a gradient, we have to do that. So let's go to our fill and we're going to change it from a color fill to a linear gradient, which automatically does a white to a black. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change it from a black to a white to a black. So we're going to add in a color stop in the middle and let's change that color stop. Let me get him right in the middle. I'm going to click on him and I'm going to move that to a white. And then I'm going to choose my first stop and I'll change that to a black. So you'll see it's black to white to black. Now, the other thing we can do is we can change the direction of our gradient. So right now it's going from left to right. So what we want to do is we want it to go from top to bottom. And you'll see that you have the gradient stops on your object that the gradient is applied to. So I'm going to grab the first stop and I'm just going to move them to the top left-hand corner. And you can kind of feel it snap when you get right on the top left-hand corner. And then, I mean, you could do whatever you wanted to. You can move this around and change it. But for our scenario, we want it to be in the top left-hand corner. Then I'm going to grab the final stop and I'm going to move him to just the bottom right. And I don't think I got the top one quite right. Okay, there, I can feel it snap. So it's now I've changed the direction of my gradient and it changes the look quite a bit. So that's how you apply a gradient to a text. You have to convert it first. The other thing I want to do is show you how to make a shadow with your text. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to click off to kind of deselect my gradient and I'm going to click back on my shape. I'm going to give it a border, a black, just a 1-point border right now. And what we're going to do is we are going to copy it and look at it over here on your layers. That should help you see where it's at. And then I'm going to edit and I'm going to click paste in place. And then you'll notice that right now we have 2 over here. Well, we want to click on the one that is below. So we're going to click on this path to select the one that is below. And obviously it's got that gradient fill. Well, we want to change that to just a plain black fill. Now you won't be able to see anything because it's behind, but we're going to make this into a shadow. So kind of deselect it and then click on your layer over here to pick that one. I'm going to hit the down arrow twice, 1, 2, and then I'm going to hit the left arrow twice, 1, 2. Oh, and it's not going. I got to get it. Hold on. I think it's probably because I'm filming a lot of this stuff clams up when I'm filming. Hold on just a second. Oh, it was doing it. You just couldn't see when it was selected. Okay, so now you see that I have just a slight little shadow. It just gives it a little bit of a 3D depth. And if it doesn't look like it, just like with me, click off and you should be able to see that slight shadow. And that's how you would make a shadow. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is modifying a gradient once it's on your shape. So I actually want to see a little more of the red in this shape back here. So I'm going to click on it. And as you can see, I have my ellipse selected. And then you can see that I've got this like red to black radial gradient. So I'm going to click on the gradient and I can see now that I've got my little slider and I'm representing all 3 points. So I'm going to click on the middle one and I'm just going to drag it out so that the red stop goes straight through my text. So that's another way that you can modify your gradients is you can just drag the sliders. You'll notice that my slider moved over here to go along with what I did over here. So the last thing we're going to do to this, I'm going to select everything on here and I'm going to group it together. So I'm going to go to modify and I'm going to group my selection. And then we just want to rotate it just a little bit. And that's changing its angle over in the inspector. So I'm going to change it to 15 degrees. And there's our little guide. So this is our final copy of our Berry Symposium logo. And that is how you convert text to outlines and are able to apply a gradient to it.